Hi everyone! The third quarter has started and I set myself goals for every quarter, so it's time to look at how I did for the third quarter of 2002 and set some goals for the last quarter of 2002. For this third quarter I had 3 goals, one of which I had completely forgotten, and apparently I had decided I was going to write reviews for all the books I read. I might have done it a little bit in the beginning because I remember writing stuff down on my phone, but no, it was really just preparing for this video that I saw that goes like, oh yeah, no. So what I have realized though is that I'm just not a sitting down to write my thoughts type of person. It's not working for the books because I've tried that already also in the past with a little book. I just don't do it. I don't do it for videos. I don't do it when it comes to, like, you know, writing down how my day went or stuff like that. So I shouldn't expect me to do it for any of these things. I'm not a sitting down, writing stuff down type of person. So I'm not going to try it in the years to come. If I remember, because if I remember I was planning on doing it, I'm probably also going to forget. No, let me try that again. If I forgot I was planning on writing it, I'm probably going to forget that I'm now planning on not doing it. Do you follow what I'm saying? Second goal. The second goal I did very well on. I'm gonna grab the books because that goal was to read some big books. I had picked big books specifically. Let me see. Let me hold up the pile. You can't read the actual books. Let me turn around the pile. This is better. So, Moonwitch Spider King by Marlon James was one that I wanted to read, and I read. Revolutie by David van Rijbroek. Another, I don't know how many 100 pages. War and Peace, 2,000 pages. That was the classic, big classic. And one that I had not set myself as a goal, but I knew I was going to read was Tomb of Sand. Another biggie of a couple of 100 pages. It would be interesting to know how many 100 pages this is in total, but I don't feel like looking that up right now. Really happy to read all these big books. It gave me some kind of peace because I had allowed myself to read these books. It was a goal. Usually in the past when I tell myself I want to read that big book, at the back of my mind there's this voice saying, you need to read fast because then you've got to read other books as well because you have to read this many books per month or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's these voices in my head. But telling myself I was going to read multiple big books somehow worked. So I'm going to try that more often, not right now because right now I want to get back to reading. I'll get to that. Reading big books very well. Third goal was reading books for Invisible Cities. Went a little bit not so well. Let me grab the list of all of those books and countries. Invisible Cities, in case you don't know, project. Every month 2 countries are picked, and in my case I want to read 1 book for each one of those countries, unless I have previously already read a book from those countries. At the beginning of the third quarter, I still had to read, wanted to read a book for Ukraine and El Salvador, which were picked previous to the third quarter. And then of the new countries, let me see, the countries in total for that quarter were Indonesia, India, Taiwan, Eritrea, Czech Republic, and Brazil. Indonesia, India, Taiwan, and Czech Republic I had previously already read books from. Despite that, I still read books that were about Indonesia and a book from an Indian author. But Taiwan and Czech Republic I was not going to try. However, I didn't even look into Eritrea and Brazil, although Brazil I was already planning on reading that this quarter because I'm going to go to Brazil on holiday. But Ukraine, El Salvador, didn't even look at them, so Invisible Cities, not great. But that has given me, renewed energy to tackle Invisible Cities as a project for the last quarter. I would really want that, so that's going to be one of my 2 goals. I'm only setting myself 2 goals. I want to tackle Invisible Cities. I want at the end of the year to have read all of the countries that I have not previously read something from and that is available and interesting to me. So I've looked at what that meant because for the fourth quarter, 4 new countries have been picked. Luckily for us in December, December is going to be catch-up month where you read whatever you want from the countries that you've not yet gotten to. So the 4 new countries are Greece, Afghanistan, Angola, and Bolivia. Previously already read a book from an Afghanistan author, so that means Greece, Angola, and Bolivia are left open. I have now done research for all of these countries. And this is going to be my plan. For Ukraine and El Salvador, I already have 2 books. For El Salvador, I have Die Frische Coupe Brûle by Claudia Hernandez. The English title is Cut and Burn, I believe. And for Ukraine, I have Grey Bees by Andrei Kokov. Both I'm reading in French, and both I've shown you a couple of times already. Then for Brazil, I'm planning on reading in French On adorait les cowboys by Carole Ben-Simon. The English title, I think, is We Have Always Loved Cowboys or something like that. I'll tell you about the books when I read them, because now I won't be able to tell you what they are, really. For Greece, I'm going to read The Third Wedding by Kostas Taxis. For Angola, I'm planning on reading The Society of Involuntary Dreamers by José Eduardo Agalusa. However, I just got a mail from the bookstore that I'm ordering these books from. Apparently this one is out of print in French, so she's gonna see what she can do, but not sure if that is going to work. Bolivia and Eritrea for now. There were none of the books that were available to me were very interesting. At least I found very interesting, so I've decided to kind of skip them unless something turns up that I am interested in. So I've got at least 4 to 5, depending on the Angolan book coming through, that I really want to read in the next months. Now, as I said, I have 2 goals because 3 apparently is too much. I can't hold 3 things in my head at once, at least reading things. So my second goal, I wanted to look at my TBR. Because I looked at numbers and stuff, and at the beginning of the year I had 31 unread books on my shelves, and I wouldn't want that number to grow, because otherwise that means that by the time I die I have more unread books on my shelves than now, and that is a little bit mind-boggling to me. So I want that number to be at least 30. Now, a little bit more math time. So at the beginning of the year, 31. Right now, there are 37, at least at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Every month, on average, in 2002, I got 4 new books on my shelves. So that means that at the end of 2003, I should be on 49 books. 7 of those I should have definitely read, because they're either for Invisible Cities or Book Club. So that leaves me with a number of 42. I have picked 12 books from my shelves that I want to read by the end of the year. Now, why am I picking 12 and not just saying read 12? Is because for some of these, I have the impression that my interest in them is already waning a little bit, and I think it would be good to prioritize them, because the other ones I'm still very much very interested in, either on the short term or are classics that I know that I will read at some point in the future. So I have picked 12 specific books. 2 are Penguin Green Idea books. I showed you for the 4 Penguin Green Idea books that I have. I'm reading them in a vlog. But the 2 that I still want to read and are therefore on this TBR, right now I don't really know where they are. I'm gonna find them at one point. I'm not looking for them. They will turn up, but right now, location unknown. For the rest, we've got a very mixed bag. Lots of different languages, lots of different genres. It's all over the place. First off, the 2nd volume of the Book of Dust by Philip Pullman, The Secret Commonwealth. This is, if not YA, then maybe even middle grade, but I'm enjoying it. I like that world. Looking forward to have that off my shelf, because I am still interested in it. Then we've got this non-fiction, Dutch non-fiction book. This is the history of Amersfoort, the city that I'm living in. This was gifted to me by someone who had kind of broken another book. And as well as giving me a new copy of that book, they also gifted me this one. So this, in Dutch, the title is Verhalen van Amersfoort by Abe J. van der Veen. And it's very shiny. I want to read in Dutch Mijn Lieve Gunsteling by Marieke Lucas Rijneveld. Also in Dutch, Pauperparadijs by Suzanne Jansen, because I've had it on my shelves for a while. Also in Dutch, an essay by Roxane van Iperen, Eigen Welzijn Eerst, about why the Dutch middle class is more and more egoistical. And that is going to be interesting to have in the back of my head when I see the news, so I want to read it. Last book, I think in Dutch, is another non-fiction, and that is Het Antiracisme Handboek voor Chanel Mathilde Lodik. In Dutch that would be the Anti-Racism Handbook or Guide. Anti-racism is a thing you should always be, at least, yes, you should always be looking into. It's not something that was only interesting when Black Lives Matter was in the news, so have some work to do. Then we've got some French ones by Clara Dupont-Moreau, S'adapter. This one won a French prize last year, and I know that when I read the back I'm interested, but then I completely forget about the book, so should prioritize it. Another non-fiction. I've got quite some non-fiction on my list. The Open Veins of Latin America by Eduardo Galeano, about Latin America. In German, Herkunft by Sascha Stanislawski. I usually want to read one German book every year, so this is going to be it this year. The English title I have forgotten and will have written down here. I really hope my German is going to be enough, because otherwise I'm going to have to find another book, another German book. Last but not least, the 12th book on my TBR for these last 3 months is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. This is one of those that I know I'm going to love, and I therefore want to read it now because a lot of people have read it now for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and therefore I will be able to talk with those people about this book. Those are the 12 books that are on my TBR for the last 3 months. Now, what happens? Can I read other books from my TBR? Yes. Can I swap them for these? No. No, because this is exactly why I should prioritize these, is because unless I read them now, my interest is going to wane even more, or I'm going to find excuses or whatnot. So now I have no excuses. I want to have read all 12 of these. I don't necessarily have to read them from my book. I am maybe going to audiobook 2 or ebook 2 while I'm on holiday, but I'm reading these 12 books. That is a promise? Oh gosh, I promised something. No, yeah, oh god, I'm scared. Maybe I'm gonna edit this out. Anyway, 12 books and Invisible Cities. Those are the 2 things that I want to do at the end of the year. And those aren't only 2 things that I want to do for this quarter, but also I think that that will make my reading of the year just a little bit better. I've had a great reading year up until now, have to say. Loved a lot of books. And I hope these will also bring me new things. Anyway, how have your reading plans been? Because I'm setting myself these quarterly goals, and a lot of people set themselves goals at the beginning of the year, but what are those goals? Do you still remember? How are you keeping your attention? Or do you not have goals? That's also a possibility. What are the things that you want to do? Or are there specific books that you want to tackle? Tell me, let's chat in the comments, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!
Ba-chum, ba-chum, chum.